You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, GH fans. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and I have a question for you. Do you think that Valentin Cassadine is working with both Pikeman and the low-rent hillbilly Pautuck Mafia? Is he this secret mob boss? And is this some horribly large, overblown plot that General Hospital is going to fail in their construction of because they've put too many legs on it? We're going to break this all down for you right now. So last week, it was either last week or the week before, the General Hospital writers, I think it was week before, seemed to pivot on this Pautuck plot. And I fear we're being pulled into an umbrella story unwillingly that they have hastily constructed after the fact. Possibly this is happening because of the replacement writers who we don't know who they are. That means to me they are of dubious origin, dubious experience, and dubious talent until I am proven wrong. So are we about to see this pivot? And Valentin Cassadine is the ultimate boss of both Pikeman and the Pautuck crime syndicate. I have reasons to think both of these things, and I'm going to lay them out for you. And then I definitely look forward to your comments on whether you agree or disagree. Before we dig in, if you haven't already, please reach down, click subscribe so you don't miss any of our GH updates, spoilers, news, and more. So just to make it clear, this is me thinking out loud. It's speculation, but it is based on things I've observed on the show. And I'm going to lay out every single factoid and tell you where I'm speculating and where it's fact. I'll be very clear with that. I always am. I never lie to you guys about what's spoiler and what is a conversation about what if, like if we're friends sitting around having our morning coffee, talking about our favorite soap opera. So based on that very tense phone call that Valentin had today after he walked out of the meeting with Sonny Corinthos, this is what started me thinking about all of this. Valentin warned Sonny, you just can't back out of a deal with Pikeman because they're dangerous people. Well, Valentin is dangerous people too. Let's not forget that. And Pikeman has deep ties to the WSB, and don't forget, so does Valentin. That's how he and Anna Devane met decades ago. It was in WSB training when he was that unfortunate, pitiful, hunchbacked introvert with grand plans and serious daddy and mommy issues. That's also when Alex Merrick tricked him into bed thinking that he was sleeping with Anna. And now there are all these red flags that have me really thinking they've turned this into an umbrella story. Now, just real quick, I'm going to pause for a second and explain this to you. In case you don't know what an umbrella story is, it is a god-awful soap travesty primarily used on General Hospital. The old head writing team of Gene Passanante and Shelley Altman loved their umbrella stories. For instance, do you remember that horrible, terrible, unsatisfying chimera plot that turned into nothing more than Jake Weber's magic trick gone awry, and there was some tube that looked like a thing that comes down at the bank drive-through? Remember that? And it was supposed to have all this stuff. And Jake Weber had been brainwashed by Helena. Do you remember that awful pile of crap plot from 2017? Because I do. I can never scrub it from my brain. So to summarize this umbrella concept really quickly, I'm going to read you a quick definition from a website that explains it very well. It's Guiding Light's Danny and Michelle Bauer Santos website. That's the name of their website. So normally, a soap opera has several storylines going on at once in various stages of development. Most of a character's scenes will be with people who are also part of that storyline. There may be 5 or 6 or more storylines going on at the same time. An umbrella story connects several of these normally separate storylines and puts characters in an expanded pool of characters. That is how they define it, and I use their definition because it was done so well. Props to them for describing this well. Essentially, what this means is that several different storylines that initially seem unconnected turn out to be interwoven. It's usually, on General Hospital, convoluted, nonsensical, illogical, poorly written, poorly executed, and doesn't fit together well when it all comes out. At least that's what I've observed every time General Hospital has tried an umbrella plot. When I hear umbrella plot from General Hospital, I start to get an actual rash, y'all. I really do. And since Gene and Shelley left, we haven't had any of it, but we've got replacement writers now, and maybe they are from the Gene and Shelley school. Heck, Gene and Shelley retired. For all we know, they have come out of retirement and crossed the picket line and are writing this mess. That would explain so much to me. I don't think we're going to find out who's writing it until after the strike, but for me, I feel like this is an umbrella storyline that is being set up with Valentin to be the bad guy. In fact, maybe the bad guy we were told he was years ago when they first hired James Patrick Stuart and brought this character to the General Hospital canvas. So I'm going to lay into the red flags for you. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. So first, for nearly a year, they've been referring to the mob boss in Pautuck who was pushing around Austin Gatlin Holt, using Mason Gatlin to do it. They've been saying it's a woman. It was things like, you know how she is, and we do what she wants, and you have to listen to her. It was so crystal clear. Then the other day, when Mason was talking to Austin, an awful Nanny Betty, I wish somebody run her over. She is the worst. It all of a sudden turned into he. Their boss is a he. They have pivoted. They have changed the gender, and that made a lot of y'all think, oh, maybe it's Cassandra. Maybe it's Cassandra James' character, Terry Randolph. It is not. Don't even think that. Not happening. She is an oncologist. She is a doctor. She is a decent person. She is not running some hillbilly Pautuck mob. Not happening. All right. Second, another bad sign that there's an umbrella clouding our soap spoilers is that when Cyrus Renaud was at the hospital for his heart attack, he and Austin Gatlin Holt were sharing these knowing looks, these wink, wink, nudge, nudge looks. Some wondered if that meant Cyrus was the Pautuck mob boss, but I just don't think so. I think it's going to go another way entirely. Although Cyrus is certainly a possible culprit, I think he might know about who's in charge of Pautuck. That's just my feeling, and that he knows Austin's involved. But I don't think it is Cyrus. That's not the vibe I'm getting off Cyrus right now. But then again, the writers may not have actually made up their mind yet. I just want to offer that as a caveat, because they do that on GH. They go one way, and then fans start to figure out what's happening, and then they pivot and they go right, and they go someplace where it doesn't make sense. It's what they did with the GH Strangler plot, and that's why it didn't work out at all. And it was completely implausible that it was the DA that was doing it, because he had alibis for at least 2 of those murders. Again, another umbrella plot. All right, so third, we have Valentin lying about his alibi the night that Anna's house burned down. This week, Dante grills him, and Valentin abruptly changes his story and provides a different alibi. Then today, we saw Valentin on the phone talking like he was somebody with influence and in charge, or at least maybe in partnership with someone high up at Pikeman. So I definitely feel like he might be helping run Pikeman, even if he's not the ultimate boss there. But maybe they've also rolled the Pautuck plot into it as well. Because there is one last huge red flag, and that is that Sonny Corinthos is embroiled in both the Pautuck and the Pikeman plots. Of course, we know Sonny has to be in every single plot. I figure he'll be acting as Maxie's realtor when she rents Dante's house and rescuing Sasha from her doctor, making sure that Esme is back from lunch over at the Invader on time. It's not a real GH plot if Sonny's not front and center. No insult to Maurice Baynard. I enjoy his work, but there's too much Sonny in every single storyline for real. It's been that way for a long time. So him being involved in both the Pikeman and the Pautuck plots is no joke. Another warning sign that there are 2 plots that might really be one larger plot, and that spells UMBRELLA, umbrella, Ella, people, umbrella. And just, it doesn't bode well for our patients, hoping for a good payoff. Umbrella plots rarely work out well. They end up ticking off fans who get invested, only to find out the plot reveals messy, poorly written, unsatisfying outcomes. That's just what I've seen over the years on General Hospital every time they attempt something like this. Plus, there's the fact that the person that burned down Anna's house was very careful not to kill her in the fire. They made sure she left and was safe. A lot's been made of it being a smaller person's feet, like a woman in the black shoes associated with the incident. 2 comments on this. First, it could be an extra filming the scene, which means shoe size and height is completely irrelevant. That's pretty common that they use a fill-in when the actor's face isn't seen so that they're not wasting studio time with a named actor. Based on that, some people think it could be Alex Merrick, who has ties to the DVX, WSB, possibly Pikeman. She might have been hiding out in Pautuck all this time. There's a lot of options there. Remember, Anna gut shot her twin sister, and Alex went into the water in Port Charles Harbor. Nobody was found, so she could be alive. But even if Alex burned down the house, she could be working with Valentin. Remember, she had the hots for him years ago. So we have 2 more big points on this umbrella thing, and I'm going to lay those out for you in 1 second. Definitely drop your comments when you're done listening. Click a like if you enjoyed this, and click subscribe if you haven't already. That helps the channel out so much, and we really appreciate you guys subscribing. All right, so the bottom line is we have to see where future GH spoilers take us, but what I fear is that all the warning signs of a hideously unsatisfying umbrella plot are right in front of our faces, especially if it's fill-in writers trying to craft it. Even worse, if those fill-in writers are the 2 retired writers, Altman and Passanante. The only spoilers for next week related to this are August 29th. Brick and Sunny are thinking through things. So that could be them looking at Pikeman, Pautuck, or both. Yet another sign, if they're talking about both, that we are stuck in an umbrella. So what do you think? Is this an unwieldy umbrella plot we see opening? Is Valentin Cassadine neck deep in both as much as Sonny Corinthos is? Is Valentin the secret boss of both Pikeman and the Pautuck mob? Remember, back when Austin first came to town and was grasping for a share of ELQ, he and Valentin were working together. They were conspiring together. Are they still working together now? Or is Valentin one of the people who is bossing him around and holding his feet to the fire so he keeps his mouth shut about his identity? Drop your comments below on what you think of these 2 convoluted plots and whether GH is trying to force them together. This is Belinda from Soap Dirt. Thank you so much for listening and watching. We appreciate you all.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.